Welcome back, beautiful people, to Carson's favorite show, Trey the Terrible Collector. On today's episode of Trey the Terrible Collector, we're going to do something a little bit different. Some of you might know, and some of you may not. I work as a dog trainer when I'm not collecting terribly. This is my friend Trip. Trip is very photogenic, and he wanted to do the episode with me. In addition to having a special canine co-host, we are going to be attempting to wrap up season 5 of the Toy Biz Uncanny X-Men toy line. When I say we're trying to, the reason that I'm hesitant about it is because there's a lot of moving parts to this. So we're going to give it a shot. Today, we're going to be opening up a 2-pack. Now, Toy Biz started introducing the 2-packs as a line, as a means of introducing little variants, selling more units and such. But a lot of the times, what you had was just characters who already existed in a line and a means of packaging them together and boosting a little bit of the notoriety. This particular one is a KB Toys exclusive. KB is a toy store that used to exist and certainly does not anymore, probably because I stole a lot of their yo-yos. We're gonna go ahead and bust this one open. This one is featuring Silver Samurai and Albert. It was listed as a robot Wolverine. And it says there's no one in the world that the Silver Samurai hates more than the X-Man Wolverine, and that hatred extends to Albert, the unstoppable robot made to resemble Wolverine. When these two meet, it's a conflict of martial arts mastery and mutant energy versus cybernetic strength and artificial claws. Now, to the best of my knowledge, these two characters never actually met. Albert was a cybernetic version of Wolverine that was introduced to attempt to kill him. He was often paired with a young girl-shaped robot named LCD, clever, who was filled with plastic explosives. And the idea was that once they got into some combat, Elsie would self-destruct, blow up Wolverine, and that would be that. Silver Samurai, on the other hand, has a much longer history with Wolverine. He was often affiliated with the clan Yashida, and he was shown kind of in one of the Wolverine movies. Not a very faithful adaptation of the character, but let's go ahead and tear this open and check out what we've got inside. Okay, so first thing of note is that these 2-packs came with a tiny die-cast metal, metallic painted version of some of the other characters. So this has a very tiny Cyclops. It's heavy die-cast metal. The legs don't move, but the head and arms do. So there's actually quite a good deal of detail and articulation to such a tiny little figure. I absolutely love the way these look. I didn't keep many of them as a kid. I don't think I ever had this one, but I definitely had some of the little die-cast metal ones. He's super cool looking. Up next, we will look at Silver Samurai. Now, Silver Samurai comes with a sword, which I won't be able to get out of here. There we go. The sword is highly metallic on both sides. There is a little tape stuck to it, but I'll clean that off. It'll look real nice. Silver Samurai is also super metallic and shiny. He looks awesome, but as soon as you go to use this toy, you'll realize that he's got a lot of issues. So we'll put the sword in his hand, and we're going to go ahead and raise his sword up. Let's see how that looks. Oh, you can't, because his helmet is attached to his shoulder pads. So frequently as a kid, I would take the helmet off. He does have a really nice face sculpt, and we'll zoom in there for you guys so you can see that. He does have a hinge at his knees, but he doesn't have any at his hips because he's got this Boy, I don't know what that's called. It's not a kilt. Some sort of samurai armor situation. He does not bend at the elbows, so for a character who's meant to engage in combat, you know, martial arts and attacking with a sword and all these things, he can't really move a whole bunch. But he looks cool as shit. As long as you're not trying to actually play with him and move him around, he's very, very cool looking. Next up, we have Albert. Albert is a very unique representation of Wolverine. He's got what appears to be handcuffs stapled to his chest. He's got various pieces of armor. Part of his cybernetic skull is showing through. There's a whole bunch of little stitches where it looks like he was patched together. And I think... yeah. So when I squeeze his legs, his arms fly off, which is neat. Don't eat that. And then he comes with another set of arms, which is cool. Like, I really love when characters come with replacement parts and different, like the morph figure that we just did had all those different heads. Please don't eat that. And these cybernetic arms are dope. Super detailed, all metal. Get out of here. The claws are fully extended, and so then you can pop those back off and switch the others back on. So that's kind of a really cool take. And there's no reason you can't mix and match. Whoop. Mix and match which arms you put on. The fleshy one doesn't really seem to want to stay in there. I'm not real sure why. Quit it. Oh, there we are. Looks great. Okay, so there's our first two-pack, Silver Samurai and Albert, the cybernetic version of Wolverine. We won't be doing an extra pack today. Give me that, little bastard. Because there's no card in these figures. Moving on, we have our second two-pack. This will round out Season 5, and it brings us a character that we've mentioned several times. We had mentioned that up in the upper right-hand corner of the cards, Maverick was frequently featured, but not actually available until much later in the series. We finally got our Maverick. This Maverick is gold and silver. The one that would be released on his own had blue instead of the silver. This is much closer to his actual comic book look. And it also features Trevor Fitzroy. Trevor Fitzroy is a time-traveling mutant who's frequently associated with Bishop, but this gives us a chance to have a new character. On the back it says, a time-traveling mutant renegade from the future, Trevor Fitzroy scours the world in search of personal power. He was a member of the Upstarts, who were a group of mutants who often were just looking for personal gain, not really mutant justice or anything else. They were just trying to become more powerful. So it is not surprising that he would run afoul of the freelance peacekeeping agent called Maverick. It's an interesting way to describe him. Maverick was a member of Weapon X along with Wolverine. He eventually would become known as Zero. I don't know that I would call him a peacekeeping agent, but whatever. Their clashes are a struggle between mutant time-warping ability and high-powered ordnance. While Maverick has proven victorious up till now, the outcome of each new clash is always in doubt. Again, I don't know that these characters ever fought in the comics, but what a cool way to bring some lesser-known figures to the forefront. Let's get this open here. So, like the last one, woof. This comes with a die-cast version of Wolverine. So the yellow parts of his costume are colored gold. He does have articulation in the head and shoulders. Very cool little additions to the series. I super love these. They're going to have a place of prominence up on the shelf. Next, we will look at Maverick. So, like we said before, Maverick is a member of Weapon X. Not really a very popular character a character in the comics. But at this time, in the 90s, you know, if you had a gun and some armor, you could really get a lot of mileage out of that. He does have these really cool wires that are in an entirely different material than the rest of the figure. He has a quick draw action with a very cool, unique gun. Different than any of the other ones we've seen in the series so far. And the quick draw action works really, really well, where we have run into some figures like Bishop and Forge who had some issues with it. This really just pops. Looks great. His armor is super detailed. His face sculpt is quite nice. And his hair is an interesting texture. It looks like it's actually real. So that's very cool that they put all that effort into this figure. This is Trevor Fitzroy. Now, Trevor Fitzroy, as we said before, frequently associated with Bishop. I guess this is like a force field that he's supposed to create. It looks... Ooh, let's see if we can actually get it on there. It does look pretty cool when it is actually on him. And this figure has loads of articulation. Shoulders, elbows, knees. They really just, because they had a figure that wasn't really doing a lot, they put all of the little details in there. He does have some like cybernetic metallic stuff on his arms, which matches up with Maverick's. Actually, it matches up a lot with all of these characters. They all have some of that futuristic, robotic-looking armor to them. Pretty cool character. Interesting paint job, tons of little details. We'll get in here with a zoom, but there's like some like etched-on details that we don't really see in any of the other figures. That's really a nice touch. So here we are with the very end of Season 5 with some really weirdo characters. If you weren't a big X-Men person, there's really no way that you would know who these people are. They're not big in the cartoons or in the movies or anything like that. I mean, I guess Silver Samurai was in one of the movies, but iffy. And Maverick, I think, was too. He was called Agent Zero. It was a weird take on him. But here we are with the end of it. So, let me know what you think. Guys, if you are enjoying the content that we're putting out, I'm enjoying making it for you, so I do love hearing from you. Trip also loves hearing from you, so if you want to leave him a little love, I'm sure he would like to hear it. In the meantime, please remember to like and subscribe and tell your friends. We really get along by word of mouth, so we do appreciate anyone sharing the show with other people. Until next time, y'all have been wonderful, I have been terrible, you've been super terrible, and we'll see you again soon.